UCLA's Adem Bona is one of the best returning prospects in college basketball. Instead of keeping his name in the 2023 NBA draft, Adem opted to return to school in hopes of improving his draft stock, and this decision will likely bode well. With an official 6'8" and 1/4 measurement without shoes and a 7' 1/4 wingspan, you could say that Adem is undersized for a center in the classical sense. But weighing 243 pounds with a 9'2" standing reach, and with his athletic tools and skill set, he is not undersized at all. Adem's calling card is his defense, as he was one of the best defenders of last year's draft cycle. He was a do-it-all kind of defensive stopper for UCLA, as he can play in practically any defensive system and in any sort of coverage. This versatility is so valuable, as Adem can fit into any defensive context wherever he lands in the NBA, and will be insanely effective at doing so. Here he is out on the perimeter as Colorado is running a double drag screen. Adem blows it up with a hard hedge, causing Javon Hadley to pick up his dribble and change course, rather than freely operating out of the pick and roll. As soon as the ball is picked up, Adem knows his responsibility is to get back to his man who is rolling to the basket. He makes a hard plant to quickly sprint back to him, stays solid defending his man in the post without fouling, absorbs contact well, and stays vertical to eventually tap the ball away. A role that Adem was very impressive in, although limited in the time that we saw it, was as a roaming low man. In the times where we did see Adem in this role, we got some ridiculous highlights and an insanely promising look at what he could be like playing more as a low man in the league than in college. When cast in this role, where Adem was able to stay closer to the basket with his man not being involved in pick and roll or other offensive actions, his insane athleticism, timing, and sheer presence consistently deterred rim attempts at a high rate. Aside from these low man opportunities, Adem did just about everything you could ask for. He would deny the ball from post-oriented bigs very well and play one-on-one defense on them, effectively guard the pick and roll whether it be in drop coverage, hedging, or any other coverage, as well as showcasing flashes of perimeter defense when those situations would arise. Typically, a defender will get their highest and most effective leap for a block off of 2 feet and with a long penultimate step, that being the second to last step of a jump. While Adem does use this tactic, most often as a low man, basketball is inherently complex and unpredictable, and there are quick situations you cannot plan for. Adem doesn't need to load up like this all the time to effectively deter a shot. He can jump off of 1 foot, off of 2 feet, off of weird angles, with minimal load time and just a hop going into his jumping motion, and anything in between or beyond. Adem has insanely quick reaction times to shifts in offense, and this coupled with his athleticism and timing is a scary sight if you were the opposing team. Take this mind-boggling clutch play for example. Adem follows his man up to where he's going to set a screen for KJ Simpson. He plans to hedge and begins to get into that motion, but Simpson rejects the screen and Adem has to adjust. He makes a hard plant to turn around, takes 2 steps, leaps off of 1 foot, and just annihilates the ball en route to an Amari Bailey dunk. With Adem's pick and roll defense, his movement abilities for a guy of his size as well as his feel pop tremendously. Adem would make guards very uncomfortable when hedging ball screens, funneling them to the sideline, getting in their face, causing them to pick up their dribble or scramble, or anything else that would make the guard's life harder, before eventually rotating back to his initial man. These hedges are very hard ones, and although there are situations where such aggressive pick and roll defense has backfired, they have been very minimal. The main times where they will not work is when Adem is playing aggressive and the ball handler gets a window to make a pass to the rolling big from the pick and roll action, and a UCLA teammate doesn't tag the roller, such as Jaime Jaquez doesn't here as it's his responsibility. In drop coverage, Adem uses his length, athleticism, and feel to be effective at essentially guarding 2 people at once, keeping track of his man and limiting the guard from slashing or pulling up, as his timing can get good contests on pull-ups. Here in drop coverage, then switching onto the guard, we see some of Adem's movement ability playing perimeter defense, with him walling the guard off of his path, forcing a travel as he tried to get to the hoop for a bucket. While sometimes Adem doesn't have the ability to turn his hips quick enough to guard the elite 1 through 3s on the perimeter, there have been some very encouraging possessions where he has played great defense on the perimeter and shown an ability to contain bigs with perimeter skills and some guards and wings. When going against bigs down low, Adem is incredible at fighting for positioning and playing one-on-one defense against them. He denies the ball from bigs well, absorbs contact tremendously, and generally just going against Adem in the post is not a great idea as he is an incredible stopper down low. I mean, just look here against Azuolas Tubelis as he refrains from fouling and gets very low, moving his body effectively to wall off any attempt of a decent shot at the rim. One thing with Adem that's a bit weird as it does not track with his playstyle and abilities is his rebounding issues. For some reason, there would be many situations where Adem simply would not time rebounds well, would just not go up for them, or weirdly get pushed off of his spot, which doesn't make sense for someone with his physical ability. This is extremely low-hanging fruit, and I'm not worried about it for his game as a whole. Overall, Adem is an incredibly impressive and versatile defender who uses his 99th percentile athleticism in functional ways in just about every situation you can imagine, with very minimal flaws. On the offensive end, things do get a bit trickier, but there are still some great abilities and indicators for the future. To start off, Adem is one of the best screen partners a guard could ask for. He consistently sets very hard and effective picks and rolls into space very well, allowing for the guard to have sufficient space to operate. The screening is his most consistent and beneficial offensive skill. As a roll man, Adem has a large catch radius and has flashed some play finishing abilities. This is not super consistent, but there have been some impressive moments and stretches where he will be a solid roll threat for lobs and general rim attempts. When rolling, there have been many times this year where Adem simply will not be passed to, although he does move to space pretty well and has an impressive catch radius. Adem will signal for the ball, but a lot of times he won't be hit, whether it's due to something like Tiger Campbell's height allowing for less of a window for a lob, or other pick and roll operators on the team having reasons not to kick to him, such as maybe a lack of trust in him or their coach not wanting Adem to be a focal point in the offense. Not getting Adem the ball has also been evident when he is looking for a low post touch, as their coach has been visibly frustrated at points when he receives the ball down low. He is generally very indecisive when receiving the ball in the post, as he will sometimes flash a few pass fakes, oftentimes out of habit with no real plan, causing defenders not to bite on them. When a teammate's defender will provide gap help and double, Adem typically does not react well to them quickly enough to hit an open man, and the play kind of falls apart. Generally, the process is pretty poor in low post opportunities. Now, the rolling and post-ups have been very clunky at points, and it does make sense to a degree why UCLA would refrain from letting Adem figure things out. The offensive skill set is very raw, and UCLA was in win now mode with many upperclassmen, so they did not have much of a leash to give him to explore things. The opportunities Adem had to truly operate as a roll man and down low came so infrequently that the context is just not there yet for a guy who is very clearly raw offensively, as he needs more opportunities to explore and develop. I look forward to seeing more Adem post touches and roll man opportunities this year, as many key upperclassmen are gone, and this year with loads of freshmen coming in and a likely shift in program goals, Adem's developmental context on offense will be better. One other minor note to make is that Adem at times will not give his teammates sufficient room to operate on drives, staying where he is in the post rather than moving to space, leading to less room available for teammates as they are driving. This is low-hanging fruit, and as he develops, he will move to space better, and this will not be an issue as it is a pretty simple fix. Adem does flash as a great play finisher in the future, with some impressive moments as a roll man, catching lobs and finishing plays, using his athleticism and physical tools to sky up for dunks and move defenders out of his way in the post. He has also been very good off of dump-off passes, finishing plays when the ball is dished off to him at the rim. He can also clean up on the glass and finish well, and this will continue to develop as the rebounding improves. One of Adem's most effective moves down low that I would like to see more of is a little baby hook that he has, where he has converted on a good deal of these looks. These baby hooks are effective because they're decisive, and it seems like a comfortable motion for him. Adem can back his defender down with a couple of dribbles and get in a nice comfortable motion to drop the shot in. While they have not materialized too much and are infrequent, there have been some impressive flashes of straight line driving, showcasing that there are untapped offensive athletic tools that can potentially be used for something greater in the future. Here he kind of just barrels into his man, but the straight line speed to get to that spot and begin his leap is impressive. There are also passing flashes that showcase that Adem is capable of some basic reads that help an offense flow, as when in situations where a read is readily available, he can make it when a defense is collapsing on him. Here's a nice little touch pass out of a roll that he makes to Jaime Jaquez, which keeps the offense flowing, punishing Coleman Hawkins, who rotated away from Jaime, resulting in a bucket. Adem Bona is an electrifying defensive powerhouse, a great screen partner on offense, with burgeoning play finishing abilities and flashes of other skills that can develop on offense, who should see his stock rise as this college basketball season commences.